So that's the opening theme of it, and the idea behind it compositionally was that in boxing or in martial arts or in various forms of involvement in be it Filipino martial arts or Wing Chun, whatever it might be, or Muay Thai, there's a back and forth, there's a sparring, and it's very similar to what happens in jazz. Jazz is improvisation, jazz is democracy, jazz is communication, jazz is team building, jazz is collaboration. So this idea of back and forth and different textures and different opponents and different ways of coming together, and I thought you might find that interesting. And it involves this, all of these pieces have improvisation in them too, which I feel is important to our art form and what we all do individually. Any questions so far? We okay?
One of the things I learned from Dennis as a student, don't show up not prepared. Dennis ran a very tight rehearsal, and sometimes it was quite intense, but never negative. It was just demanding, and he was expecting to get the most out of the students, to get the most out of the music. And he was very consistent in that. And this is a good lesson that I'd like to give to all students. Be prepared for the class, because you're going to maximize your learning and you're going to get the most out of the class that you can. That's probably the strongest lesson I got from Dennis as a student.
I think Dennis was that rare combination of a fantastic musician and a fantastic teacher. You can often be one and not the other. In fact, people frequently are one and not the other. But Dennis managed to have his own artistry and his own exceptional talent, and yet had the same passion for bringing out the best in his students. The story of Dennis in Haiti is pretty remarkable. Like me, he had no idea about anything going on in Haiti before he got there. And like me, he kind of came upon it by accident. In his case, it was an accident that was kind of tragic. He was blowing up a bicycle tire, and it exploded near his face and his ear, and it affected his hearing. We called him, my wife and I, just to express our condolences, see how he was doing. And in that conversation, we said, you know what, Dennis, if you've got time, why don't you come with us to Haiti and teach a couple of our kids something or another on a trip? I mean, they would love it. And he agreed to come. And from that very first visit, when he saw the joy in our kids' eyes when he taught them, you know, their first notes, he was hooked, and he began coming back with me almost every month for the next 6 to 7 years. Sometimes they play hot cross buns or Three Blind Mice or something like that on a violin, and yet you could see how happy he was when they got it, and how happy they were when they saw that he was happy. And it's, I think, for all his accomplishments in academia and in music professorship, they all pale in comparison to what he did for free.
Dennis was a very intense person in terms of his work ethic and what he expected from himself, and then likewise what he expected from his students. But more importantly, he was a very giving person, and he always cared about you and the students and his colleagues consistently. How are you doing? You okay? How's your family? How's your mom? How's your kids? And he didn't do this as lip service. He did this with everybody, and he was very consistent across the board with that. And he would help you in any way that he could, always. I'm going to miss him dearly.